Let's just regroup. I'm going to do a class today on how to make huge profits by entering trades in the first 30 minutes. That is the topic of the discussion. And for those of you that signed in, my name is Melissa Armo with the Stock Swoosh LLC. So if you have any questions after the presentation, feel free to email me at melissa@thestockswoosh.com. Or go to Twitter or Facebook and like there. And I also have a bunch of YouTube videos under the Swoosh name as well. So here we go. This is a place that we were stuck on earlier. Let's see if we can get past this slide. The question was, are you motivated to make huge money? I know this seems like a silly question to ask, because many of you are going to say, of course I am. Although the thing is, many people begin to trade and they don't really think about the potential sometimes when they get in a trade. They're just so happy that they're at all, whatever it happens to be. They don't really think about the overall bigger picture potential that they could see in the day. And this is what we're going to talk about in today's class. So I want you to ask yourself, would you like to be up money within the first 30 minutes of the day as soon as you take a trade almost? Like the minute you get in the trade, as soon as it sets up and triggers, you're in it, up. And you didn't stop for 1 second. As soon as you took the entry, you were up money, and it happens very quickly first 30 minutes of the trading day. And then I want you to ask yourself, of course, would you like to make money as soon as you take your first trade? Me personally, Anissa, love my first trade of the day to be green. Now, this doesn't happen every single day. I have to get a good stock for this to happen. I have to get a good stock pick. However, it does happen many days. Why? Because I'm looking for a certain qualification in order to choose this that I'm trading, and I'm looking for an exact entry place and a stop that I'm going to use to get in my trade and the setup. And I'm looking for that setup to happen within the first 15 minutes of time, sometimes the first 1 to 2 of the day, but absolutely within the first 30 minutes of the day. So I also want you to ask her, would you like to only work less than an hour a day? And this is a possibility that exists as well once you learn how to trade in this way. Once you how to trade with such a specific manner that you can get in a symbol and enter the position basically on the open or within the first 5, 15, 30 minutes of the trade, you could be out of it. You're up money immediately, even if you hold the whole trade to the target. You'd be out of it and get on with your day and work less than an hour a day. Even from 9:30 to 10:30, stocks get beautiful moves. Some chains go to the target for 10:30 in the morning. Bleed all day, but many of them can get to the target by 10 o'clock, 15, 10:30. Would you like to bigger targets just simply because your entry in your first trade was perfect? This was a gap from last week. Symbol here is cross. You can look at it. It was. Everybody see my arrow? Right in here. Can everyone see my arrow? You see this? I'm pointing on this right here. Let me know that you guys can see this so you can see where I'm doing stuff. Okay, great. So the entry that I made in this cross trade was perfect. And this is another incentive for you to stay in trades long. Why? Because your entry is perfect. If you get out, you won't be able to get back in at a better price. And therefore, your motivation is, I'm going to get a big trade in this today. I'm going to hold this thing down to target. I love the trade. I love the gap. I can see sight. And I know that I'm going to get a better price or a better entry than that I have right now. So that's incentive in your motivation. It's really about getting a clear path to huge profits. And these are things that I look at. These are that I find are extremely important when looking at what I call a clear path. Now, what do I mean by a clear path? I mean, number one, the stock pick is good on the day. It's a quality strategy in place that helps you pick the right stock to trade. Number two, the price. The price that you're getting in the trade that you're taking is very good, and this is based on what? Accuracy. Your price that you're entering, that you're taking the position is accurate, and therefore you can have conviction to take the trade and down. Number three, time is another very important thing, and why we're talking about the first 30-minute trading of the day, because the timing has to do with precision. Sometimes if you take too fast, if you take a trade too quickly and you don't wait for it to set, it boops you out and goes on to work. If you don't take it quick enough, you miss the trade, it runs $2, boom, and it's all of a sudden it's gone and you can't sit. So timing is about precision. Jeff is asking me about cross rated either 22, 23, I think. I have to go back and look at the sheet. It's either 20 or 23 was cross. the day gap last week. And number 4, risk amount. Risk amount has to do how much conviction you have in the trade, in the gap, in the position you're taking. I do not risk the same amount necessarily in every trade. And many times I will ads in trades and tend to risk, if I have 100% conviction that the stock is going to go on and have a big day. Why do this? Because I like to big move and make big money in the day in something that I'm in love with. And then we're going to say, this is perfect. And many of you have seen me do say that, and we're going to talk about one of the trades today. Number 5, stop placement. This is another thing that will give you a clear path to getting to huge profits. Why? Because the details in where you're putting the stop. Many people I will sign think trades, like the trades, but not where to put the stop. And if you don't have to put the stop at the right place, which has to do with the detail, all right, then how do you know how much size to take? The way you get good amounts in these things, making sure your stop's at the right place for 2 reasons. Number 1, if it violates the stop, then the trade's not going to work. And number 2, if you are taking a good long position in a trade with size, you've got to have the stop at the right place. Otherwise, it could flip in the reverse direction. The trade isn't going to work, and then boop, all of a sudden you're down. So the stop has to be in at the right time. This has to do with detail. And the last thing is exit, which of course has to do with management. Some people will see the entire trade all the way down to the full-on target, and some people will get out in dips and back. And we're going to talk about that today as well. So it's all about the right price. Here's actually a chart of Google. I decided to put Google up because it's a nice example of a stock had a nice bullish run for quite some time. And yet, if you didn't buy Google at the right price, what happened to you back here? This last year, this is the end of 2012, the fall. You had this big fall off here. If you bought Google at the right price, which by the way was the gap here, this gap that happened all the way here last summer. Does everyone see that right there? This gap that happened last summer ran up. Even here you could have bought it at a beautiful run all the way up here. You did not get in this at the right price if you grab this all the way up here and here, or basically change the long move up. Look at what happened to you in here through this rushing big fall that this had. Now, this ended up being just a pull into support, but it was a really, really big one. So the right price, entering on the gap. And if you went on the gap, you never suffered. And whether or not you took profits out here or held the whole thing, again, it's about the money management because you would have had targets all along the way. And right now it's over $800. However, this was the price to get in it at. This gap happened back here last summer. And so it is all about the right price. It's about getting in the trade at the right price in order to get paid. Huge profits come with accuracy and a purposeful design. I 100% believe that. More and more as I trade and as my trade is reaching higher levels, and higher levels meaning accuracy, which is allowing me to profit more because that is the end result of accuracy. And the design, the purpose behind it is what? Is to money. And that is the reason that we trade. That is the reason that you get up in the morning early and sit down at your computer and decide what you're going to do and risk your money. You don't risk your money for no reason. Risk your money as a trader in order to profit. You cannot profit without risk. However, you'll find that if there is accuracy and a purposeful design to what you do, you can risk money and feel confident that it will bring you good results. It has to do with focus. A really good focus you're doing, and if you focus on what you're doing, you'll trade with less stress. You know, this morning I got up and I said, I am so relaxed today. I'm going to do something that I like, and if I don't get it, I'm not doing it. I was so incredibly relaxed today, and the thing that I picked that I traded and liked worked better than anticipated. And, you know, it's just amazing when you get to a point where you reach a new level in your trading, and you're so focused on what you're supposed to be doing, and you do not let anything set you off of that game, all right? You will trade in a manner that you're focused with less, and therefore, because you're stressed, you will do better. You will perform better. And remember, this is all about performance. The money is the result in what? In great performance. In great performance. The results are a reflection of amazing performance as a trader. So trading for huge profits is possible. How? In order to really benefit from the moves in stock as a trader, you need to learn how to enter a position at the proper time. And if you can learn how to successfully trade the first minutes of the day, you will have the benefit of getting the best price before a move occurs. Getting into a trade before the move happens can help you maximize your profits for substantially more gains. Getting a trade within the first 30 minutes of the day gives you so much freedom and flexibility. And learning how to make huge profits is ultimately the way to be successful as a trader. Why? Because nobody wants to get up and just make $50, $30, $100. Now, that might be fine at the beginning, and it might be fine until you really learn and get it down. However, ultimately, your goal, long range, as a trader, should be to make really good profits in the stock positions that you're taking. It is fun to add up huge bets, and when you're starting out and you start to do well, you might sit there with a calculator and do it, and you go back and look and say, wait a minute, if I did this, what would I make? The bottom line is huge profits. They matter because when you're starting out learning something new, whether it's a new strategy or a whole new system, when you start to book the money, you will stay motivated to continue trading. It will help you stay motivated to continue learning because you will have to learn something new if you're going to take it on. And this I call comma days. This guy's happy. He's celebrating. Why? He has just a comma day. And what do I call a comma day? A comma day is any day when you look at your pen, there's a comma in it. And I don't care what level you're on, it's a great day. It's a great day. Whether you're a beginning trader, a trader that you've been trading for years, even if you have comma days and you have a string of comma days, you're used to having comma days, you know what? I always love having comma days. I never feel bad about myself when the day ends with my P&L comma in it. It's a good day. It doesn't matter what's in front of that comma. It's what I call a comma day, and it's a day to be happy. And that's a successful trader. And you need those. And in order to get those, you need to start having some huge profitable days. And the way to that is with accuracy. We're going to talk about the examples here, and hopefully I'm going to be able to use my pointer for everyone to really go over the trade example, which is IBM. This was one of the best gaps I've seen in a long time, and I was all over this thing on Friday morning. And, you know, there's some days when you have a target in mind for something, and it goes far, far, far beyond what you even think it's going to. And those are some of the days you'll ever have trading. When you get when something works beautiful and you say, thank you, this is the reason to trade. And this is the reason that I trade, by the way. This whole gap and the move that IBM did on is the reason that I trade. And people are saying, Melissa, why do you only do one thing? Why do you only gap? I don't need to do anything else. And this is exactly why. And why some days do you not do anything? Why don't you go long? Why don't you do breakouts? Why don't you do the call of the market? Because I don't need to. Because some days it's going to do nothing if you don't get the strategy you like, and if you have a strategy that you know is good and you're paying and watch it and get it accurately, it will be all you need. And this is part of what we'll talk about today, and you'll see that. So I woke up in the morning and I saw PM and I said, this is it. I love it. We're doing it. And here's the setup. IBM open, ran up to 96.50, couldn't get a bid, and fell hard on the day. Fell hard in the first 5 minutes of the day, immediately set itself up, and I knew that it was it. Can everybody see my pointer arrow here? Can you see this? Because it doesn't look blue and red for this moment. It looks like a little square thing. Okay. So, fell hard, rallied up, and I called the trader. And I entered it right in here as soon as it broke, right in here very aggressively. And this is very aggressive for this stock to trade in. However, many stocks, even in this point, will give perfect entries the day that. I forget what I rated IBM. It's 23. Let me look. Oh, the sheet here. Yeah, it was 23. And this is what I said. What I talk about perfect, talk about accuracy, this is what I wrote on this sheet. No more than a 3-bar rally on the 1-minute chart in the open. In an ideal world, it doesn't trade over 98, which it didn't even get close to doing. Didn't even get close to doing. If it does a 1-minute L setup, do it. Either way, it must set up trigger by 9:45, which it did. Preferably 9:40. And it did. This thing did everything. So I was all for it. And I knew what it was supposed to do beforehand. And of course, it did it. The entry time was 9:40. Price was 194.15. That was over 194.55. The risk was 40 cents. On 1,500 shares, the risk was $600. And I gave this a big stop. Okay, this is IBM. It's a little spready, so I'm giving cushion. There's times you tight with stuff, and I felt even at 55, it was plenty of cushion for this thing. And then the exit was at the target, which was basically 191, and it got in 5 pennies, and we'll go back and look at it. The risk to reward in this trade alone was almost 8 times the made in profit. So let's go back in the 1-minute chart and review it again. This is with no ads. I'm going to show you the ad trade after this, but let's just look at the trade if you wanted to do it without any ads. I did an ad in it. Here entry, stop is over face, and I gave it wiggly jiggle room, all right? But it never got near violating it. And then it started to break, and then it back up in here and stayed fine. It didn't do anything wrong the whole time, and I kept saying the whole time it didn't do anything wrong. And then it's all the way down and broke in here. Here it is. All the way down and broke in here. Here's what I got out. I mean, it was literally like one of the best trades I've ever did. It was a perfect exit. It was perfect. I got out in this bar right here in 1 minute. It was a beauty. Then it went back and set up again, and I'll show you the other way. But this here was perfect. Now, what is this required? It requires preparation, figuring everything out. The target on this actually for the day was 190.50. When it got down to 191 and started out, then I took the whole thing. Of course, this ended up going past the dream target on the day. I'll show you that in a minute, but it was a beautiful chart. So if you want to do this and never do any ads, you make almost 8 times that risk. Why? How? Because you have accuracy in your entry. You know exactly what the stock position is supposed to do. Set up a certain time. The setup is in the first 30 minutes of the day. You're getting price at this point, and you were down. I mean, you were never down money set up. It just bled. You never got anywhere near where you're stopping. Now, if you wanted to do an ad on this, okay, this is the 5-minute chart of IBM. Here's the first bar of the day, the enormous move down and the back up. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here. If you want to do the ad on it, here was the ad. You take initial entry here at 940 and your price, okay, which is on the 1-minute chart. And it was at 940 in the main. And here's where your stop is. And your risk is 40 cents. If you do the ad price is 93.52. You do your position, which is how I like to add. I like to closer to my price and double my position and risk the same or maybe a little more even. Sometimes I do that. Again, 100% commission, and the move hasn't happened yet. The move has not happened yet, so you can do the ad. I don't like to do ads after the move is 50% done. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Otherwise, I'd kill my price. Remember, I have a beautiful price up here. I'm over 94. Right? You can't get a better price than this. I'm shorted on the open, and that would be ridiculous to do. Although actually, it touched up in 196.50. It's almost like you could have actually. Let me go back and look at that. You could have actually shorted this here when it broke 196 and just put the stop over the high of the day. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could have done that. You could put the stop over the high of the day as soon as it hit 195.99. Poof, stop over the high of the day. Anyways, all right, let's go back. So here it is with the ad. If the price is 193.52, that's 1,500 shares. The average cost price then is 193.80. The stop's over 194.05. The risk is now 21 cents with double position though, so it's close to exactly what you originally risked. So you're risking $30 more, okay? But you're already into the date and you like it and you're ready to know it's and it's still early on the day. Early meaning what? What time was this ad actually done? Let's go and look at this chart here again. Here was the ad here in this bar. You see the ad, okay? Right there is the ad, okay? And you really got to keep the top over 194. Why? Because it shouldn't back up over 194 because it already. So I put the stop over the base, and it really shouldn't back up over 194 at this point. And here's the exit. 191.05, boom, and you make over 13 times the amount, which was 83.70. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful trade. Now, of course, you do have to have buying power to be able to do this. If you do not have buying power to be able to trade this in a $200 stock, this is your motivation to get this thing down. This is your motivation to do well. This is your motivation to get to this point so you can do these things. Because I'm telling you, it doesn't really matter if you trade stock that's $200, $50, or $2.50. If the gap is good, you'll be able to participate in it. Even if you don't have the buying power, you can play small size. And I'm actually going to go over an example with a smaller size position too, just so that you could still make money in this. And this is called the Golden Gap for Beginners. This guy's just learning to walk. He's just learning to walk in the day, and he says, you know what, I'm going to go after IBM today. I'm a beginner, but I love the gap. I know it's 23 points, and I know it's good. What can I do? I don't have a million BP in my account. I can't take all of that, so what can I do something? Can I? Yes. Here's what you can do. This is IBM Beginners. You take the chip 940. Same entry, 194.15. The stop is over 194.55. You're going to only take 200 shares. 200 shares is less than 40,000 P. Or you could have taken 100 shares and had less than 20,000 BP, and you could have done it. All right? And then you got the first target. So you still would make the risk to reward is there, even with a beginner account. It's the point is the amount of money you're risking for the amount of money you're making. Number one, to make $620, risking 8 is huge. And to take big size, it's even bigger. So the huge has to do with two things. Number one, the amount of money that you're making. And number two, the amount of money you're risking according to the amount you're making. So it doesn't matter, even if you're new to this, if you do the exact entry and put the stock in the right place and take my gap or stock pick in this case, you can make 8 times the amount in profit. You're not stressed. You're not stressed doing this. And by the way, this isn't the ad because I'm assuming you don't have the buying power to do more than 200 shares. So you just take the first trade and you write it out. However, if you do, let's just say you have 100,000 in P, and then you wanted to 80,000 in total doing this. You could have done this and you with an account risking only $80. You could have made over $1,000 on the day. Now, this is absolutely just as clean as you can get for trading. I mean, clean, perfect setup, low risk, and amazing profit. Why? It all has to do with the quality of, number one, the gap, and number two, the price that you're getting at. Ralph asking me, can you trade options? A lot of people ask me about using my rating system to trade futures and options. I know people that are doing that. I'm not doing that, but I know people that are doing that because they're rating the gap, seeing the gap's going to go in this direction, seeing the bigger move down. I know people that are doing it. In fact, I know people that have done my call on Apple trading it with options, and a person on FDX and a couple names. So I know people that are in my class that are doing it. I'm not, but people are, and they're making money because they're using my system. I taught them that they learned in relation to the quality of the gap and the continuation it's going to see through the period of doing the option. No, IBM does trade like this every day, Joe. This is what I call a golden gap. We're going to talk about that more later, but this is what I played on Friday for a reason. The reason is it was a gap based on the strategy of professional bearish gap, and we're going to talk about that later. And you cannot trade every single thing on the planet with vision in reference to these entries because things don't set up like this all the time. This is why I do gap, and we're going to talk about that more in a little bit. Okay? My average profit ranged anywhere from 4 to 5 on the low end times the amount of risk to it could to 20 on the high end. And that's the great thing about these entries. And no, you don't get them every day, but when you trade them, but you do get them in what I call golden gap. I'm going to talk about them more later. So even with a beginner baby step count, babysitting it, risking $80, you could have made over $1,000 to come a day. This is a day to celebrate like the cat. You're happy because you just made over $1,000 risking $80. And this is you take a small beginner account if you let the profits sit in there, start to ride and build on your own. If you've got to pay off because your trading is paying your bill, get out. However, if you can trade like this and you're starting out and let it build itself and building itself and building itself, that's how you're building up your buying power to get to this point over here. And again, this is the motivation. I mean, this is huge motivation. This is Darren asking me winners versus losers. Now, when something loses, I'm out. If this trade would have lost, hold on, let's go back. I would have lost $100. Okay? So when the trade loses, out. I don't retake the trade unless it fixes itself. The trade might. So when the trade is done, if it sets up and fails, out. Will I retake it at the time? Yes, but only if it fixes itself and tells me it's going to go on to work. And I can tell you right now that if IBM would have gone over this, I wouldn't have redone it. I'm not going into great detail why, because we'll be here 2 hours. But if IBM would have gone over this area where I put the stop and never, ever, 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 ever replay that day, and quite frankly, it wouldn't have worked. All right? Joe is asking me, I only trade down gaps. Yes, I do, because I don't need anything else. I can more than enough money doing this, nothing else. And this is how I'm getting so good at this whole thing, okay? Because I'm doing only one thing. And it is 100% my belief system that is the way successful trader. I'm telling you right now, I don't care what you trade. This is good advice that I'm in everybody here tonight that stuck it up through the late time that we started and everything else. And I appreciate everyone sticking me while I got the PowerPoint reset up. The best thing you can do for yourself if to be successful as a trader is get good at winning. And learn my thing if you want. I'd love to teach you. That is how you're going to make it. That is how you're going to make it. That's the way to be successful as a trader. And what happens is people think they need a million things, and they're flip-flopping back and forth all the time. This, that, this, that, this, that, this, that. They don't get a bearish gap. One day do a long. And then it doesn't work out. They don't know why it doesn't work out. Then they lose. Then they had 4 great days doing their thing and 1 losing day doing something they don't even know. You see how it's so like that. You've got to stick with one thing. When you don't get it, you don't get it. Down gaps are not rare. I'm trading down gaps since 2008. This is how I taught myself this thing. And I did it in a bullish market. So they're not rare. They happen all the time. There's a plethora of them all over the place. How many trades per year do I get like this? During earnings season, a lot. Crust was huge. GE today, good. GE was good on Friday. There was a million of these in February. There's been a ton of good ones like this in April. The first week of April was good. Earnings season just started a week ago. And earnings season, which is 4 times a year and lasts for 8 weeks, there's a lot of these, an absolute lot of these. For me, myself, to get a perfect exit, I'm getting better at it. But let me tell you, my trade is a whole new level in the last month. And just the last 2 months. The last month, where I literally have had 1 losing day in the last month. Knock on wood, 1 losing day. So the thing is that I lost in 1 trade. Poof, that was it. It was something doesn't work. You take your loss. Poof, that's it. And when they you write on. If the stock isn't shortable, then you request it from broker. I really don't have an issue with that. I'm not in any one trade at any one given time. That's my personal preference, but you can do whatever you want. Actually, on Friday I did trade 2 things. Friday I was in GE. I quick took GE. I put the stop in. I said, don't worry, it's fine. Then I watched IBM, got this one perfectly, and then I took GE out after I made the drop, didn't go out over the day, and then I stuck with this one, it out. It was a busy day on Friday. It was a busy day on Friday. I was in 2 on Friday at once, but typically I'm not. Typically I'm only in 1 thing, hog wild with it, but I actually played 2 things on Friday because one set up and then the other. I liked them both. This ended up working out better. Got a beautiful entry in GE right when it wrapped to the high of the day and reset up again. So it really depends on what you want to do. Every gap that rates high morning, you can trade. I like to get really good entries and take them with size and focus on what I'm doing, so I don't do more than 1. But I did on Friday. It was just an active morning. Let me just answer some questions here before we go on. How do you know not to go long on the gap up? This was a gap down. How do I know what direction to go? I know what direction to go because I rate the gap. Through this, and then we're going to talk about, I'm going to answer some of these questions in towards the year. All right? Let's go on here, though, to the beginners. I will answer your questions, those of you that are asking them. Let's go on here to what happened in the afternoon. I want to go over this in the afternoon. IBM ends setting up again. This is a 15-minute chart of what it did. So it had a big drop, and okay, there's where I got this thing in the morning, and then it rallied back. This 8-period moving average pushing down on top of it. The 20 was pushing down on top of it. And here's the 5-minute again. This thing rallied up, solid holding. And I said, you can just take this right in here and put the stop over these guys. Just short it into the wind. I said, as long as this holds 193, it's good. Wherever you get filled. Literally retested 192.99, 11.15, and you just short it wherever you take it. So if you filled at 192.95, put the stop over 193, it was absolutely perfect. And remember, you're ready before morning trade. You're looking to do a second trade in the afternoon to chunk on deer. You should never risk more than you made morning on a second trade. If you do it, time of day is excellent. Perfect time of the day. Perfect precision, perfect time of the day. And again, you're ready made in the morning. Whatever you take, your whatever size, beginner account, advanced account, you have to profit. So on a $6 risk, you would still profit from the advanced account. And if you did the initial account and made over $1,000 on the beginners, then you risk $100 or $200 even. So then no matter what, you still have money on it. It bled way past my dream target. The dream target of 190.50 will go back and way beyond. And profit on this was over 12 grand. The reward is over 20 times the amount. In second trade, look at what it did. You were ready to book the entire AM profit. Even if the second trade had failed, the profit into the day. No stress, zero stress. Why? Because you took your first trade in the first trade of the day at the best price you could possibly. Never, never, never get a better price and get in at that time of the morning. No matter what you want to do, take it all the way down, chunk it out, whatever you decide to do, you're up money. It's basically the best way to trade as long as you get entry. Mark is saying, do I have training skills with all the training room? No, absolutely not. Mark asked a question. Let's look at this before we go on to the next thing. Mark is saying, do people have trouble getting filled? Because I'm calling these trades, and obviously, other people are taking them, and it's a short. And to borrow a short in order to short something, it's not like taking long and selling out of it. The answer is no. And I never will for as long as I trade the things that I do. Why? Because I'm in stuff that is volume number one. I'm not trading stocks that have, trade 100,000 shares on the day. I'm trading stuff that has volume on any given day of the week. So tradable. There's people in it. Lots and lots and lots and lots of people. Number one. Number two, large institutional money that is creating gaps, and they're moving the stock price. No matter if I had 1,000 people in my room, we wouldn't move this a boot. We wouldn't move it a penny. You're going to have to take my word on it. That it's large institutional money that is creating. Let's go back and look at the 1 minute. Let me find it. Open here at 196. Open here, booped up to 196.50. This full on 9:30, 9:31, 9:32. In the 3 minutes of the day, in 3 trading minutes of the day, the stock dropped $4.50. $4.50. Okay, that is not traders. Nothing that this thing is going to do the rest of the day is going to be affected by any amount of. 20 billion traders trade this thing. It wouldn't have anything to do with anything. It's large institutional money that's running this thing, and there's nothing else any trader is going to do to touch it. It doesn't matter. It's big. I mean, this is serious money. Something just drove IBM down in 3 minutes, $4.50. That is serious selling. It's a kaboom. And that is the end of the story, okay? And it will continue to drive price down all day until it feels like falling off a cliff, which is the way it did today as well. Okay, I'm doing it in order. Asking me a question about that. All right, so second trade in this was a beautiful thing. Why? Because it literally really just had no entry other than, again, accuracy. Price. It's about the price. It's about timing. It's about money management. You've already made money on the day, and you're go lucky right after. As soon as you get to this thing, it rallies up and everything right and never gets over at 193. You cannot do this in anything in the world. You can only do it on good gap. Only do it on good gap. Entry criteria is what I teach in the class, Fred. I teach a class, and that's the whole second day of the class is entries that I take in my trade that I learned from doing this for the last 5 years, the 3 years it took me to figure this stuff out. Mark is asking me, how many trades do I get a week? Well, I don't get a new gap on the day. I'll do what I call a continuation gap. Today on GE, which was not a new gap, it was a continuation gap. I look for a new gap on the day. If I don't get to do a continuation gap, do I get one day? No. I probably, over the course of a year, there might be maybe during non-earning season, I may not take a trade once a week. 3 times a month, maybe there's days I don't take trades during non-earning season. During earning season, I trade every day. I mean, I can find every day, whether it's a new gap or a continuation gap. But every morning I get up prepared to trade and looking what I like. If I don't find it, then I don't trade it. And if I find it, then I do. How much time lead time notice method give in order to enter the trade before price is too far? Well, I already have everything figured out. I already have everything figured out on the sheet. I teach to do this. I already have it all set out way before the thing even started to trade. So I'm anticipating it doing what I want it to do. I'm completely 100% anticipating it. And then when it does it, I take it. So here is the Golden Gap IBM. I added this chart after trading. This is a beautiful thing. The real target on this, it did the overnight on this from Friday, which I knew it was lower today. Again, you take retracements on this stuff. There's no retracement. This gap that happened Friday set itself for a new lower. Boom, that's it. Hello, it's lower. There's nothing else to do. Play is now, IBM is lower, and it continued to, which it sounds drastic because it went past the dream target on Friday, but because it did, I knew that it was lower. I knew it was lower today because it went beyond the dream target plus the overall chart. And it actually went past these people, really these people here. 1825 was the swing trade target, or if you took the overnight, is right in here. Let's look at it. And again, overnight, you do not take big size. The leverage is not the same. It's just 100 shares. It was $230. Remember, the original trade, you just kept 100 back. That's all you do. Just keep 100 back in your pot. Say, I know this is lower. I'm going to hold this for a swing or core trade. I took it out today, and you could have made another $190 just holding 100 shares. Okay, let me answer the platform stuff at the end. After the platform stuff at the end, the 26 things is what I'm using to rate and find the stock symbol. So the moral to the story here, the moral to the story, everybody, is what? It is possible to make a lot of money in a trade on a day through take right entry, doing an ad, or take second trade. The moral of the story, though, really is you got to be in this thing in the morning. You've got to be in it in the morning. You've got to be in it at the best price. And if you do that, there's no stress. You 100% conviction to hold it down. You're already up money. You get the conviction to do the ad without risking any more or killing your price, okay, which some people teach to do ads, and they ruin their price. I'll not do an ad as it kills my price. So I can't give that price up. I have my good price in the morning. I don't give that up. I'll give a little weenie back, but not the whole thing, okay? And it can't have made move yet. I'm retest to get the ad. Oh, here it goes back. Yes, take it. Stop over 194. So the moral to the story is that even if you have a beginner account, you can profit and make huge profit. How? Because the amount that you're risking is small. So the huge comes from the risk to reward. Hugeness comes when you get in the first 30 minutes of the day, and whether you just chunk it out and quit your day and go on to work or whatever you want to do, life, or go to the gym at 10 o'clock, 10:15, 10:30, or say, you know what, I know this thing is good. I know this thing is at least to the target on the day. If not the target, I know it's going to get to 91. I'm going to sit here today now and trade this thing. I know it's good. And you get it all down. And the moral to the story is that it's possible. And why you do not need to trade 25 different strategies. It's a nightmare for your brain. It is a nightmare for your P&L. And you're just never going to you're never going to have these kind of days. I mean, and you have to consistently have comma days. If you're all over the place, doing this, doing that, doing this, doing that, comma days will scam. You'll have days up, and then you're going to have comma days down. I mean, honestly, the idea is to have comma days on the green side. The only way to do that is to get something. This really is the ticket. So learn how to train so that you can have the life you want, whether that happens to be more freedom, more time, vacations, luxury, whatever it is. You've got to learn how to trade first. You can have the life you want. And I'm teaching people to be the conductor in your own life. You are the one that sets the tone. You. You're the one that says, I'm going to get up this morning and I'm going to do exactly what I'm supposed to do today. And if I do, I'm going to get a lot of money and I'm not going to risk that much to it. And if I like this thing, I'm going to go in heavy. And that's the other beautiful thing about my system that helped me get to this level with trading, because I'm so precise in what I do. It tells me to get heavy. It tells me when I can go in. It tells me I can do the ad. I'm getting the confirmation. I'm getting the confirmation. I know it. It's about having one great system, and that is all you need to make money. And specifically, getting in the first 30 minutes of the day, whether you're going long or short, whether you're going long or whatever you do, getting in at the beginning time period of the morning is so powerful, because that's when institutional money is saying, they got the order set out. The order all situated and ready to go. They know what they're doing, where they're open to. All right? They said, this is what we're going to do today with this thing. Put the order out there after the open. We're getting rid of this, or we're buying this. This is what we're doing today. You think strategically have figured out what they're doing in the morning? They're getting up before me. I mean, I'm getting up at 6 o'clock. I'm looking at stuff at 7. The run starts at 8. They're at their desk at 7. They're up at 5. They're at their desk at 7. They're looking at stuff at 6, an hour ahead of me. And I'm way earlier than any day trader I know. I'm early bird catches the worm. But people that are running big money, they're at their desk at 7 o'clock. They're ready to go. They're out everything they're doing today. They're figuring all out. Okay? And then they've been in the office till 10 o'clock at night. Earnings came out the night before, figuring stuff for the next day. And then they look at it in the morning. Okay? They have a game plan. They are focused. They're not doing things willy-nilly. And it's that larger me that is the reason that I'm able to trade like this and make money in the first place. So the class I teach is how to trade like this. And it's called the Golden Gap. It's about learning profitable strategy, which in this case is gas. It's about learning how to make correct entries in the first minutes of the day so you get the best price to make huge profit. Hugeness may or may not mean taking 4,000 shares of something. It's about working up to it so you can have accounts that can sustain taking IBM. It's about learning how to find the chart so you know that where you even get out in the first place, and also learning how to find quality stock picks that have more conviction to hold bigger moves. Rick, they're being recorded, so you can listen to the recording, Rick. So the class teaches called the Golden Gap course. The Golden Gap course teaches a trading system on an advanced level. Is advanced, and if you're a beginner, I have top beginners too. I answer everyone's questions during the class. I don't want you to be worried about that. And I do talk about candlesticks, although I have to say, for people that are traders, my evaluation and review of candlesticks is an eye-opener because I look at things very, very, very detailed about what's actually going on in the movement, So it's on an advanced level for the purpose of potentially huge profits. I mean, that's the reason I did it. The class teaches how to comprehend, calculate, and determine the price action to follow large institutional money that is in stocks in the market. And that is how you can make money as a trader. The system is designed for traders to limit losses and maximize gains, left rate high, and then set up to trade. Trading the side of momentum created by large money is how to become prosperous trading. And really how to become prosperous, because I'm telling you, this is a great way to make money. Golden Gap course is a series of stock charts. The class is an education of how to determine the direction stock gap will make on the day and how to trade it properly. The class also educates traders on how to read resistance and support on an advanced level, and I find this is very important. This is very important. People struggle with this, and I do my best to make it clear. So the course teaches you how to pick symbol to trade on the day. That's number one. Remember, we talked about that at the beginning. How do you know if it's a short or long? How do you know if it's good or not? How do you know? Also, to correctly pick the direction of stock trade that day. Also teaches a strategy that offers momentum in stocks each day. Does everything run $6 on the day? No, not everything is IBM. But even Crust ran $2 a day, and that's a big move for that stock, more than $2. I teach how to trade GANs, that strategy. It's a consistent and profitable strategy. And I teach how to enter the stock and determine the target. I also teach how to read charts and fraction on an advanced level, typically within the first 30 minutes of the day. Is advanced, by the way. Some people wait to take their first trade after 10 o'clock. They do not want to trade in this part of the day. But you know what? You can learn it. This is how you make money. If the train flips around and you're out, you take the loss, you're out. And if it works, which many times they do, why? Because you rate it and it rates high, you go on work with no stress, you're up money, you can do an ad and take more size. So the Golden Gap course is a 26-point rating system. So the best gap to trade each day. That's how I find how to do it. And some of you asking questions already, I think you saw and have been following me. So you know I have this and I've been doing it. Now, object is not to get 26 points. Something that gets 23 is really, really good, and that's what IBM was. The idea is to trade rated 1. The rating system was designed by me, for the purpose of myself, just so that I could have conviction stock to trade, what direction to trade, how heavy to trade it as the sizing goes, and whether or not I hold the position to the bigger target. I ask myself every morning, am I holding to target? Do I have 100% conviction? Do I like this or not? To a bigger hold. I designed the system for absolute quality stock picks and entries. I am a perfectionist. However, that has supported me in discovering these things in the market. It took a long time to do it, but now that I have it, I know it, and I'm able to teach it to people. And now that I have it, I have it. So it's about investing in yourself with the proper education. You've got to get motivated to learn. And it's something like being able to risk $80 and rank 1,000 isn't motivating enough. I don't know what to say. The idea of trading and do well as possible. But you've got to have focus on what you're doing. Make something without any focus doesn't make any sense. That's gambling. What I do is not gambling. I have the sheet filled out. I even know what it's supposed to do. There's no gambling involved. Yes, I'm taking risk, but to me, it's really not even risk anymore because I'm doing it so well, so often. And that's also the motivation for you to relearn it and do well, because you're going to get to a point when the whole risk factor is just, melts away. When you're so good at one thing that you don't feel anxiety anymore. Allow yourself to get to that point when you don't feel anxiety and risking money. That's how you will succeed. The market does pay people who trade in fear. The market pays people that have 100% conviction, are confident in themselves, like me, confident in their strategy, like me, and in their entries and their stops, like me, and the targets, by the way. So it's about value-driven education, which is what my goal is to teach people. I think that it has to be about value. There's too many classes there that are a lot of money with zero value or no value, or you can get the stuff in a book, and you won't get the stuff teacher anywhere. You have to ask yourself, are you getting value out of education? Is the information you're learning in the class worth more than you're actually paying? Because that's real value. The Golden Gap class is value-driven education. The class teaches you a strategy to trade that you can use in multiple ways over the course of your life. Once you put the information to practical use, one live trade can pay for the cost of the class, and you don't even have to risk the money to do it. You don't even have to risk the money to do it. I mean, that's the thing. Once you get this down, one good trade pays for the class. Here was another beautiful, beautiful Golden Gap that's just far above my expectations already. The day I played this one here, the ultimate target was $93. It surpassed that. It's broken 91. I didn't even look at what the core trade is on this. This is an incredible trade. And this is a beautiful trade. And the other one that is going, and I'm going to look at over the course of the next week and see where we're headed with Apple. Broke all the levels, and I called it to do some, broke 400 last week. And this is lower. This is still low. The profit potential in things is amazing. This is well in the first gap, though, in this. But this one that happened here back in January, even this group up here, if you do the longer-term trade, did not me off of my rating, 100% conviction. This didn't even either. You have to be good at something. It's going to allow you to wiggle and jiggle through stuff. Not in a straight line, and nothing goes up in a straight line. You've got to understand how to read price action. This is key. The class I teach is the Golden Gap system. And the class dates this weekend, April 27th and 28th, from 9 a.m. to 5 Eastern Time. It is the Golden Gap, a professional bearish cap system, and the cost of the class is $19.99. If you're interested, contact me, Alyssa, at thestockswoosh.com. I also teach another class. I've just started doing this in the last month and a half, and it's so popular. It's called Wealth Manifestation, and do you know that I took this class on Thursday afternoon? It actually went over time. I had a lot of people in this class last Thursday. I was so pumped up teaching my own class, okay, because this class is about me, and it's about trading psychology. It's nothing to do with charts. I woke up in the morning and saw IBM, and I just hit it. I hit it. I hit it. I hit it. You know what? I should just do this class every week. I should just do this class every week, because teaching this class actually helps myself take risks. So, next class date is April 30th, 5 o'clock to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Cost of this class is $350, and I am offering a special for anyone that does the Gap this weekend. You'll receive that class for free. So you can do that class as a separate class, which is just about trading psychology, nothing about gaps or charts. It's about money, and it's very important, and that's why I'm offering it with Gap class this weekend. So you do the Gap this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and Tuesday night is the Wealth class. The one that does the Gap class this weekend can do Wealth class for free. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to give you everything you need successful as a trader. I 100% believe that you must have a good strategy and foundation, but your head also has to be on right about success and money, and those are the things that I discuss in the class. Yes, this is being recorded, Tom. Is that what you're asking me? And then I'm going to put 2 testimonials. Actually, I think one of these people is here today. Mash, I think you're here today. So nice. He wrote me a really nice email after the class. He said, thanks for a wonderful course every weekend. You're obviously a smart, intelligent, and motivated lady. Admire the manner in which you have inspired, so many students. You explain very precisely how to trade the variety of strategies with a tangible trading plan no one else has ever done. And there is a sudden inspiration developed in me to carry it forward. I have also come up with some ideas on how to combine your things to my normal mode of trading current indices. And this is a quote from Mash Patel. And another nice quote from a student of my Gap class too. The 2 class Melissa offers is packed with information and analysis in order to assist the students in becoming problem trading, this particular area of stock trading. If there is anyone you want to take, this is the one to help you become a better bear trader with respect to these types of gaps. Trader Thomas is asking, no, the last week's manifestation class is not recorded. All classes are live. All my classes are live, and since I know you did the one last week, if you would do the one again next Tuesday, because I know you were having internet issues, you're more than welcome. I'll get you into one. You can retake it. So that is everything. Thank you so much for coming, anyone. Does everyone have questions? I really appreciate everyone staying through the PowerPoint debacle in the beginning of the day. I appreciate it. And if you guys want to stay, Kathy wants to boot me over into the trading room. We can look at the stuff that's gapped tonight if you really want to do it. I saw market close strong, which was my call in the market today. So in fact, I think we went over the 60 to 80 area that we were going to run into. If anybody wants to stay, Kathy can boot us all over. The class times. The class times, Joe, are 27th and 28th, which is Saturday and Sunday, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the GAP class, which is where I teach how to trade these GAP like IBM. And that is Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. The next class is Tuesday night on the 30th, which is the Wealth class from 5 to 8. Don, why don't you email me that I can answer you that specifically? Here, I'll put my email in the room. Instead of announcing it, I can email that to me. And does anybody have any other questions? Some of you were asking me questions in reference to platform things. The ones that I like to use for my analysis is not the live platform. Does everybody want to look it up tonight? If so, Kathy can poop over in my room and we look at some gaps tonight, and then we can look at the platforms if you guys want to do that. Is anyone interested? Let me know. And let me know if you have any questions about the GAP class this week. The class teaches the 20 points which tell you which stock to get, which stock to use. To know that IBM is going to be good, to know that GE is going to be good. And the class also teaches the entry. The end is the second day of the class. The whole first day, nothing but charts and all the points. And the second day is all the entries and the exits. So it's a 2-day full course. The whole first day is the 20 points. It takes up the entire day. Chart samples and everything and all the. And the second day is teach 6 different plays. There's 6 different plays, and actually this plays is a swoosh. And that's my signature play, and that's a huge play. And the exits and the targets as well. And money management and some other things, but most of the second day is the endings. And I find that even once people get rating the gaps, they need to go back and revisit, retake the class in reference to learn entries. Once you pay for the class and take it the first time, I let you do retakes any time after that if you need to. And when I've had to retake the class, most of the time in day 2. These entries we talked about today that I showed you, that people need to continue going over and over again until they get good at it. Trust me, it's possible. You can. Okay. So Kathy, everyone's saying are interested in going over to the room. I will take the PowerPoint then and put my other platform up. Yes, I do make calls in the room. I made that IBM call. Everybody in my room, in fact, after we were done, I said, tell me, is this the biggest day you had? And everyone said that this day they ever had, except for like people, which I don't know if they didn't get out or didn't take it with me, but there were traders in my room on Friday that had a day they ever had in their life trading. So they did it with me. Whether or not they did it because they saw it with me, because they've taken the class, or because they have 100% conviction in me. It's a combination of both. But, I told everybody in the room on Friday morning, I said, listen, don't take this trade unless you can do it. Don't take unless you can do it, because it's that price point stock. You've got to be able to do it. I told everyone. I said it's good practice if you can do it, But I think everybody did the GE I made today. That was fast and fast too. We can go over that in the room quick as well. All right, I'm going to take the camera off. Kathy, if you want to fly everybody over, and then you guys can continue to ask questions in the other room, and then we'll bring up the charts. Okay, I'm going to take this off.